include some of the greatest literature in the world, and our next guest has read practically all of them. You know, you wonder how he has time to appear in all the motion pictures he does and then to appear on a television show like ours. But luckily, we caught him between pages, so he's with us tonight. Mr. Charles Laughton. It was very nice of you to lend us all this bookcase full of all your wonderful books.
Well, I was very glad to do that, Dinah, but would you please have your property men get them out of here first thing in the morning? Every one of those is 3 cents overdue.
10 cents? You have an inflated library. Well, look, I'll pay the 3 cents, the 10 cents, because they're marvelous books. And, you know, they give the show a lot of class. They have any particular significance for you?
Oh, yes. There's a collection of books that I've read aloud on tour and often to television audiences. There's Shakespeare here, Thoreau, Plato, Dickens, Bernard Shaw down here.
Oh, my goodness. What is this one?
Oh, that's for my own amusement. It's Tom Swift and his electric motorcycle.
What are you going to read for us tonight?
None of them.
None of them?
No. Well, I was going to read something that has never been put between the covers of a book. It's not even the work of a professional writer. I believe it's one of the finest pieces of literature that's ever been written, though, about faith and prayer. It's a letter, not by a professional writer, it's written by a great sculptor, and he was called Carl Millis. There are many of his works all over America. There's a great work of his in St. Louis and in St. Paul, and then there's some statues of his in Des Moines and so on. It seems that an editor of a young people's newspaper wrote to him asking him to give a description of his religious faith for the sake of young people. They thought to be interested in the opinion of the great artist on this subject. In some places, the letter is written in rather clumsy English, but I didn't change it because I was afraid I'd rub the bloom off it if I did. Now, I have read this before, but there have been so many letters asking me to read it again that, well, here we go. Mr. Carl Miller's letter. Dear Mr. Arthur Sherrill, in answer to your letter of February the 24th, 1949, I can tell you the following. As a boy in school, it was hard for me to follow the lessons in Christianity. That time already is still today. I was more interested in nature, the earth, the planets, the stars, etc., in animals, plants, and in arts. In school, they said I was thinking too much. I think all that came from my father and also mother, but she died when I was 4 of age. Our father introduced us children in nature, astronomy, arts, and different religions, and he did it in a way that we just got it in our thinking without knowing it. I remember the time when I, at 6 of age, already studied the stars with him using his glasses. Or at daytime, I looked at insects, animals, birds. All a tremendous riddle to me. Who has made all that? Where I turned, always the same question. Who? Why? I studied bacteriological world where I had the opportunity to see the smallest invisible animals enlarged in a drop of water, where we saw how they organized themselves in groups to save one of them who was in danger to be eaten by another bigger animal. And I studied life of ants and bees. Where I turned, same question appeared to me. Who has created us and all that? Why, it must be someone. I wondered why we think, why we can feel so much for someone else, why I felt so much for my dog and he for me, same with birds and other animals. Who has created these feelings? Why are we here? What is talent? Who has created talent even among the most primitive peoples? Where do we go when we die? From where did we come? When I asked someone who should know, I thought, he could not find words to express his faith. As an old man now, I know that no one can answer, and no one will. We have not the capacity to do it. As artist, I often ask, why this longing for art, for sculpture, for painting, music, buildings, literature? Why are we attracted to beauty? The philosophers try to explain, and still their capacity is just closed. As the tree cannot grow bigger than it is allowed to grow, as everything, the animals, insects, flowers, and we selves, we build churches to glorify that which we do not know, the one we feel in everything, which we, thanks to our senses, see and feel and listen to, the one we call God. In the wonderful churches on which mankind have worked on and beautified in centuries, on one single cathedral, 500, 600, 800 years, all to honor God and pray to him who is the master of everything, the greatest men on earth have prayed to Lord or God. In Rome is still to be seen a Greek altar about 3,000 years old. Upon this is written, Agnosto Deo, to the unknown God. We feel him, we hear him, we see him, in that we love. But we cannot come further in our life than to that. Abraham Lincoln prayed. Pasteur prayed. The hardest man can pray. The worst murderer can pray. I can pray in any place, churches or nature or in my studio. When I was a child and grandmother died, first time I saw someone die, I felt so strange. What has happened? Why is she not more talking, not moving? And when she was buried, I put a little letter to her in her grave, asking her to pray, Lord, to help me to become a great artist. Later, I stepped a snowy day in the newly made steps of an old sculptor who I admired so much, praying, Lord, to make me as good an artist as he was. I saw once in Europe a poor man pray the Lord for his sick horse. I prayed once for my dying dog. Now I am old. In reality, I do not think I know more now than when I was newborn. But I recognize there must be someone who is interested in everything we know of life, and still more than we know, big or small. Isn't this enough that we feel it in that way? I think so. Life is grand, young people, if only we have that as background, that life is created for some purpose. It cannot be created for nothing. We do not know what nothing is. Therefore, it must be something, just this something we have to think about, this something we call God. I never forget the old song a Negro once sang in radio. Lord, the old-time religion of my fathers and mothers is good enough for me. How modest, how wonderful. Yours,